I want to talk today, I want to continue on the theme of Dogen Zenji's 8 awarenesses of great beings. So we've been talking about these for the past few weeks. And today we're on the 6th, which is practicing samadhi or meditative stability. So just to recap, these 8 awarenesses of great beings were taught by the Buddha as his last teaching, and also taught by Dogen Zenji, the founder of Soto Zen, as his last teaching. They are deceptively simple, beautiful, and profound. And these awarenesses are things that we can cultivate ourselves. They're not something far off, in the sky, but things that we can do in our everyday life, whether our life as lay people or as monks. So 8 awarenesses of great beings. And as you might remember, great beings is, of course, enlightened ones. And it's also a way of saying spiritual adults, big people. So what would the world be like if we cultivated awarenesses appropriate to true adults? Pretty simple if you look at it that way. As with everything in Buddhist practice, all the instructions are here. We have only to do them, to really grow them and engage. We're not looking to something outside of what is right here and right now, but rather really cultivating the qualities that we want to be in this world, the way that we really want to show up. And we have the great fortune of having many, many people before us who have worked on this really hard and made notes and written it down and given us good maps, good instructions for what to do. And this is one of those maps that goes back to the Buddha, has been practiced for many, many, many years, was repeated by the founder of our school of Zen, Soto Zen, and comes down through all the teachers, all the Buddhas and ancestors, through to right now. So always here, and yet looking backwards quite far. So how can we take these practices and truly embody them in the same way that the Buddhas and ancestors have done for our benefit? How can we take them seriously so that we can pass them on to the next generations of practitioners? It's not through our words. I could talk about these until I'm blue in the face, and it really wouldn't matter. It's how we, all of us, not me, not just one person, but how all of us truly embody the practice. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's how we are in the world. And once we know how we want to be in the world, the guidelines are here. We just have to do them. We just have to do them. So then that comes to today's awareness of a great being, which is practicing samadhi. So we have an awareness of what we need to do. It's the engagement with it that poses the challenge. So practicing samadhi is another way of saying practicing Zen. Zen is a word that comes to us from the word jhana, which made its way through China and was pronounced a little bit differently as Chan, and then made its way to Japan, where it's pronounced Zen. So what is this quality of what we call Zen? It's not a decorating style, and it's not an absence of everything in the room except for one cushion, no matter what that symbolizes. It's how we are with each other when we're truly engaged. And this thing that we call Zen, or meditative stability, is one aspect of that. Let's read. I think the sixth awareness of great beings. To practice the balanced state of Zen. To abide in the Dharma undisturbed is called the balanced state of Zen. To abide in the Dharma, the teachings, the Dharma is the teachings, and the way that we embody the teachings. To abide in the Dharma undisturbed is called the balanced state of Zen. It's kind of a tall order, isn't it? Such a simple sentence. To abide. How do we abide? You might think of the dude when you think of this word. And he does kind of embody a quality of abiding. In that whatever comes to him, some things he doesn't like, some things he does like, some things he likes a lot, some things he really hates, and he just sort of rolls with it. We can do this ourselves. We can cultivate the ability to do this ourselves without, the dude used the medicinal qualities of marijuana to cultivate that abiding quality. We can do this through our practice. We don't need an external way to cultivate this. It's possible for all of us. In fact, that you're already here tells me that it's possible for you in this moment to abide in the Dharma undisturbed. What are the things that disturb us? And how do we reach a state of being undisturbed? We have to cultivate our mind, our practice. And we do this through Zazen practice, through sitting practice. And we do this going about our lives through Zazen and activity. And the trick to this is really cultivating this practice consistently, with attention and with effort, all the time. It doesn't mean like teeth gritting, oh my God, I must do this. It means a constant awareness. And this is the essence of this particular awareness of great beings. Cultivating meditative stability so that we can abide in the Dharma undisturbed, no matter what life brings to us. The circumstances of life and the circumstances of our inner life, meaning our thoughts and our emotions. I'm going to use this other translation today by Kaz Tanahashi. It's more, it flows more freely in English. The sixth awareness is called to practice meditation, and this is Zen. To abide in the Dharma without being confused is called stability in Zen. The Buddha said, "Monks, if you gather your mind, it will abide in stability. Then you will understand the birth and death of all things in the world. You will continue to endeavor in practicing various aspects of meditation. When you have stability, your mind will not be scattered. It's like a house where water is used sparsely, or an embankment that holds water. You practitioners are like this. Because you have the water of wisdom, your practice stability and the water of wisdom is not wasted. This is called stability in meditation." This is so rich and so beautiful. I find myself getting almost choked up trying to read it. So let's talk about it more slowly. Monks, if you gather your mind, it will abide in stability. Then you will understand the birth and death of all things in the universe. How do we gather our mind? What does that even mean? How do we sit in the Dharma without being confused? So we've learned how to practice Zazen. It's a meditation. At least we've learned in our bodies. And by that I mean we know how to arrange our legs, how to sit on a cushion or a chair, how to let go of holding and let our breath drop into our lower belly and follow the breath. Well, we know the external structure. This part is okay. And if you don't know this already, then I'd be happy to teach you. Once we put our bodies, twist up our legs into lotus or half lotus or another posture and sit on the cushion in the silence of the room. The bell rings, the incense fills the smell. We sit. Is that all? Is that all? We can make the mistake of thinking that it's enough just to put our body in the position of sitting. And I'd like to tell you that it's not. We have to do the practice. We have to really engage with the practice. And this is where it gets more challenging, because sometimes what we need to engage with isn't so comfortable. If we have this idea that we're going to come here and do Zazen and everything is going to be fixed, then I'd like to encourage you to let go of that idea, just like you let go of every other thought. If you have the idea that you are a person who simply cannot do this, I'd also like to encourage you to let go of that idea, because you're already doing it if you're here. So practicing samadhi or meditative absorption requires doing it. This doing Zen must be an active thing. And this active practice means following our breath. As thoughts arise, we notice them, we let them go, we return to the breath and the present moment. And we must do this over and over, even when we don't want to, even when we think it's boring, or even when we think it's too hard. And it's this cultivation that allows the stability to come in. You know, what we call settled equanimity. A kind of a settledness where whatever happens, we can deal with it. It doesn't mean we like it or dislike it. It doesn't mean it makes us feel great or terrible. It is that whatever is here, whatever is on our plate, and we don't really get to choose all the time what comes at us, whatever is here, we're going to be okay. Because we have an inner stability that corresponds with an outer way of being in the world. Settled equanimity. No longer caught up by, I want this, or, oh, I hate this, or this. It's this inner okayness that's allowed to shine. Not just an I am okayness, but whatever I have to deal with is going to be okay. And this can be a challenge. This week I was talking with a friend who lives in Israel, and she was telling me some of the things going on in the country, and she found them quite disturbing. This is a friend who has really worked hard to cultivate meditative stability in herself. And her motivation came out of an awareness of the brevity of life. Without telling too much of her stuff, I would say that, she was really, for many, many years, caught up in the story of the bad things happening to me. And then she got really sick and decided to really shift her focus and cultivated a practice and cultivated her mind and her ability to calm the mind and be present to what is. A lot of work and a lot of daily practice goes into this, so that even in the face of very serious illness, she's been able to cultivate and practice okayness. Nevertheless, in the last week or so, last couple of weeks, the situation in the country for her has become so volatile that it's frightening. And I think it's that way for many of us in many different places. Here in the United States, we have a period of relative calm, we think. And then we find out a couple of days ago that, certain groups have declared today a day of hate. Why do they get to say? Who gets to decide that? Not someone else. We get to decide how we want to engage with our day. And the way that we engage, if we bring meditative stability to our life, to the way that we engage with others, and if we bring loving kindness, we make today not a day of hate, but a day of love, or a day of non-hate. We have a choice. We have the maps, we have the Dharma to guide us, we have the support of the Sangha, and we have the teachings and the teachers. We don't have to do it alone. We can make the choice to make today and any day not a day of fear or a day of instability, but a day of loving kindness, hope, and stability. This is what our practice offers us. This is what it is to practice Zen, to practice meditative stability, to understand our basic okayness. The word samadhi has a quality of being settled. So as we practice our Zazen practice, we've all touched this at some point. You know, our mind can be so stirred up, and we're thinking, and we keep letting go of our thoughts and keep coming back to the breath. And then somewhere in that, the process becomes just that. All right, well, today I got a lot of thoughts. So what? And as soon as we reach that sort of a silent so what, we sort of accidentally discover a calm and a peace with it. And it feels so spacious. It doesn't make things go away, but just whatever it is. So what? This is what I got to work with. Your body hurts. You can fight it and fight it and fight it and fight. Oh, I hate this. Oh, my body is miserable. Oh, I have such a headache. My back hurts. My knees hurt. And then at some point you're like, so what? And you just settle in. And a brightness comes in from underneath. A feeling of possibility. This is settled practice or samadhi. It's the ability, it's what gives us the ability to stick with it in an unwavering way, to really stay. I used to tell myself this as I was practicing, and sometimes I would just want to get up and run away. I can't do this. And I would just very gently stay. This is what it is to practice samadhi. Understanding that thoughts come and go. Emotions come and go. World situations come and go. There are times when things feel quite dangerous, and there are times when they don't. In thinking about the state of the world, sometimes we can get scared. You know, oh my God, what's happening? Feels so volatile. And then if we stretch out, you know, this is where our historians are really great for us. If we stretch out a bit, we can think or see, okay, humans have dealt with hard things before, and they made it through. I can do it too. The world has had wars before. People learned how to be present, to find kindness, to find calm and peace, even in the midst of terrible chaos. If they can do that, we can too. And not just passively, but we can make this an active practice. We were talking about this week in terms of how we show up in the face of racism wondering, different people had different moments. For those of us who are white, where you're just like, oh my God, this is so bad. Or maybe we're not there yet. Or maybe that was there always, since we were small. But one moment that really shook up a lot of people was when George Floyd died. And so many people were so shaken up at that moment. Who knows why that one moment did it, but it did. That we all, we wanted to fix things instantly, and we wanted to change things, and we read books, and we went to protests, and we looked at our, inner racism. And now it's been a couple of years, 3. So this week we were talking about how we have changed our life since that time. And what I heard from people was that they have. But what came out of their mouths was how much they haven't. Does that make any sense? What people were saying was how much they need to do and how much they want to fix. And what I saw were the things people do. One-on-one. Noticing. People who hadn't noticed have started noticing. One person who is a man and white told us that he has been noticing how privilege works. That's something. That's an active engagement. If we can let go of the fixing that we've added onto that, or wanting everything to be fixed, then we can be present, noticing, even when that noticing makes us uncomfortable. Or being willing to stay present to whatever is. This is practicing Zen. The Buddha said, monks, if you gather your mind, it will abide in stability. Then you will understand the birth and death of all things in the world. You will continue to endeavor in practicing various aspects of meditation. Cultivating this stability is what allows us to continue. When you have stability, your mind will not be scattered. It's like a house where water is used sparsely, or an embankment that holds water. You practitioners are like this. Because you have the water of wisdom, you practice stability, and the water of wisdom is not wasted. This is called stability in meditation. I want to talk about, for just a couple of minutes, not wasting this water of wisdom. Because sometimes we do something in our practice where we just let things go. And we can delude ourselves that we're practicing just by putting ourselves in the posture. If we're not engaging actively, then we're wasting. Not just wasting this water of wisdom, but we're wasting the efforts that we've made to be here. And I think this is a pretty common thing to do. So I'd like to encourage you strongly not to waste the time that you've given yourself to practice, the life that you've dedicated to practice, the efforts that you've made, the teachings that you've received. Not to waste those in your sitting practice. By just sort of spacing out and, okay, whatever, at least I'm here. At least I'm folded up my legs and I'm here. I sat down. And you know, that is important. It's a big step. But if you've made all this effort to be here and to engage, when it's not the easiest thing in the world, then why not really do it? Really engage. Don't space out or just go through the motions. And the same when we get up from the cushion. If we've made all of this effort to do this practice, to learn, to hear the teachings, to engage with the things that are hard internally, why would we waste that effort by letting ourselves indulge in anger, by letting ourselves just quit, be a jerk, do stupid things, get drunk, whatever it is that we do to check out? Dial it back in and come back into stability. This is how we can be present with whatever comes up. By cultivating the balanced state of Zen. When we have this balance, whatever the world throws at us, whatever our mind throws at us, whatever emotions come up, whatever our body does, we can handle it. We can be present to what is. Not going through the motions of being present, but fully and completely showing up. Understanding our basic okayness. Thank you.